Hi, Harry Gibson here. As part of Mental Health Awareness Week, I wanted to put together a few short videos to explain kind of a few of the things that I'm thinking about around my mental health and a few of the techniques, tricks, kind of day-to-day routines, habits that I'm trying to instill into my life, and hopefully open the conversation and get a few off you guys, start the conversation around things that I'm thinking about, and basically little things, day-to-day things that can help and have improved my mental health and hopefully can help to improve yours, or at least just open the conversation and we can talk about them. The first one of those is being present. Being in the present moment, being here now, and not letting your mind take you away to the past or the future and somewhere that you don't want to be or don't need to be. If we look at anxiety, and especially for me, the triggers for anxiety, anxiety is basically creating a future that doesn't exist and won't exist. It's creating, thoughts, feelings about the future around things that you think might happen, or even that you know are not going to happen and not going to affect you, but you still think about them, and they affect how you are in the present moment. What this looks like for me is, worrying about what I'm going to be doing in 4 years' time, worrying what I'm going to be doing next month or in 2 months. How am I going to do this? Or basically, even like a meeting in the afternoon, you wake up in the morning and you get a bit anxious about how that's going to go for you, and it detracts from how you are in this present moment. The past can also affect the present moment. Dwelling on mistakes, thinking about things you did last week, last month. Anxiety for me is brilliant at, I have a perfectly good conversation with someone and then 6 hours later my brain goes, that conversation, I think that guy thought you were being a knob. I think that guy thought he didn't get your joke, he thought you were being double this, blah blah blah. Our brain are brilliant at tricking us and making us think those things and taking you away from exactly where you are now, to either the past or the future, neither of which are particularly productive, and both of which can cause anxiety and stress, fill you in this present moment, which you don't need. Our lives are basically just a collection of the present moment pieced together one by one. This is literally all we have, without getting too metaphysical and whatever, but the past is your memories, and that only lives in memories and photographs and whatever, but it's how you remember those moments as they happened. And the future we really don't need to worry about, because it never gets here. You're only ever in this present moment doing what you're doing now, and that's where I'm trying to focus all my attention now. And when I catch myself being anxious or thinking about things detracting from this present moment, that's when it gets to me, because that's a waste. And for me, there's a huge thing with connection with people and with the people that I'm with. If I'm anxious about the future or I'm thinking about something too much, and that detracts from how I am with the people around me, I can't connect with them on the same level. If I'm completely here and I'm in this moment and I'm enjoying this moment for everything it is, that's when those connections are better. And for our generation, that looks like not being on your phone. So like Instagram, to go back to the present example, like Instagram is just a collection of other people's pasts. If you think about it, it's just photos of things that have happened in the past, and you're detracting from your future looking at those things. Now that's fine, and I love Instagram, and it's a great tool, and there's loads of good stuff on there, and it's really good at the moment for spreading this message about mental health, which I love. However, if you're with a group of friends and you're all sat there on your phones, like sneaking a little look at other people's pasts rather than enjoying your present as it is right enjoying your present as it is right now, okay, that's crazy. Why would you live in someone else's past when you're with your friends, doing things with your family that you have finite time with? Okay, and I don't want to preach, because we all do that, and I do it. I'm definitely guilty of it more than anyone, really. But yeah, that's just one way to think about it. Actually, are you really present in that moment if your phone's on, if you've got your notifications popping off? And yes, look, we do need the future and we do need the past to a certain extent, okay? We need to be able to plan into the future, to be able to schedule, set goals. We need to visit there briefly from time to time to do those things. And yes, we also need the past, okay? We have to learn from our mistakes. But when those two things detract from how you feel in the actual moment and how you are in this present moment, that's when it becomes unhealthy and just unnecessary. these things might manifest themselves differently for individuals and how it looks in your day-to-day, but for me it's just really helped to kind of center me and to give me a kind of tactical cue as to, okay, how are you feeling? What are you feeling that for? And actually, where is that? Is that here? Is that a problem for now? Because sometimes you can get really worked up and you just feel, you know, you're not connecting with people, you're snappy, you're anxious basically, and I then try and think what has done that in my day, and a lot of the times it's in the future. It's not right here. It's not something that's happened that day. It's something I'm thinking about which hasn't even happened yet. So for me, this is just one of those things that I think about and actually really helps to calm down my anxiety, and it's one of those things where I say, look, I'm not going to let that happen today. I'm not going to let myself be like that to take me out of those situations, to ruin the connection that I have with those people on that day, because my brain wants to go elsewhere and think about other things. I'm not going to let that happen today. I'm going to center in and I'm going to be present and make a purposeful decision to ignore those and to be here right now. So aside from the kind of theoretical principle of this, some actual techniques and habits that I instill day to day to try and make me be more present and help me feel more present. The first one of these is being in your body. So this is a common kind of meditative technique. If any of you use Headspace, he talks about this a lot, where you kind of feel up from your toes into your head. You actually feel how your individual muscles, different things are feeling in that moment, and that centers you. Okay, so like a common one that I've actually used, you can use this anywhere as you're walking along, doing anything, you don't have to be meditating, is just feeling your feet in your shoes. Have a little look down. But how often do you stop to do that? If you think now, when was the last time you did that? Just scrunch your toes a bit, feel with the bottom of your feet on the floor, which are connected to the earth. Like, feel that connection. It just helps me just center myself into my body. There's also things, so one thing I started doing is just as soon as you get out of bed in the morning, do 20 press-ups. And it's not a fitness thing, it's not a health thing. It's just you have to be in your body. You have to be there thinking about your body. You get a little pump on, which is nice, but it's a present thing because you're there and you feel in your body immediately. It's the first thing you do. You don't wake up, check Instagram, and like that just detracts you from where you are. You wake up and you're physical immediately, and then from that point onwards in that day, you can stay in your body. Does that make sense? Another really helpful thing that I found and kind of habit technique is just mindfulness around really simple, basic daily activities. So Adam Burgess put up a really good post this week around kind of monotasking and taking your time over simple things that we don't give enough attention to nowadays. So one thing for me is eating. So you take the time to make the food, okay, however you do it, but you know, it can be quite laborious, like going up, doing everything, all those things, and then we have this habit of, you've made the food for half an hour, you sit down and you put the TV on, or you go on your phone, or both, and you don't even think about the food that you're actually putting in your mouth. You don't take the time to taste it, to experience the texture, like all those things. And it's not necessarily about that. I'm not, you're not Michelin star chefs like tasting each individual ingredient, but you actually sit there and enjoy it and think about it, and you're conscious and you're right there. And for me, that's been massive because we just don't take the time to do that. And food's a massive part of my life as an athlete. And the more you take the time to enjoy it and actually be there, also you don't just eat unnecessarily. You actually think about what you're eating and you see the bits that you put in your mouth. You don't just wolf it down and get on with the next job. So yeah, for me, and that's one specific example, like Adam's one was taking the time to actually make coffee properly, grind the beans, go through the whole process. And then when you get that cup of coffee out at the end, you love it so much more. It's so much more enjoyable, and you sit there and you just taste the coffee and think about the taste. And basically all these things that just center you and just allow you to enjoy these little day-to-day activities far more, but also they just keep you present because you're in that moment, you're experiencing that to its maximum capability. If you could only ever make coffee once again in your life, how much would you want to experience it like that versus instant pour the hot water in, gulp it down before you're even out the door, and you're on with your day. Now, obviously you don't have the time necessarily to do this with every single activity. I'm not telling you to take 20 minutes to tie your shoelaces in the morning, but the more that we can just involve ourselves in these individual processes and these things, the more beneficial I think this is going to be for our mental health, and the more it helps keep you centered day to day. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that useful. For me, I just want to get the conversation going. I want you guys to comment below, please, or hit me up on Instagram. Just tell me what you're thinking about, what's helping you at the moment with your mental health. What would you like us to talk more about? And let's just keep the conversation rolling. Thank you. Please subscribe. Please like if you enjoyed that. And I'll see you soon. Bye.